Yo, what's up, y'all? We out here trying to get 3 degrees buffer, maybe a few miles per hour faster. We out here at the nature park. I was getting my run on yesterday and today. And, like, subscribe, and share. You know how we roll. You know how we do. And I wanted to talk about kind of where my head was at during the run. Yesterday I did. It ended up being a 10-mile run. Today, just a 5K, a few miles. But it was an interesting experience, like getting out here, getting in nature, reflecting on stuff. I don't know, my recommendation, get out in nature, do something, get active. It'll give your mind room to roam and to express in ways that it just can't do if you're sitting cooped up inside all the time. But anyways, it's interesting because the hardest part of a run, I think, is getting out of bed with the knowledge that that's what you're trying to do, right? The sun is popping right now. It's kind of bright. See my eyes. Like, to me, that's the hardest part. Just trying to get out of bed and say, all right, I got to get dressed. Oh, let me use the restroom. Let me get my water in. Let me make sure I don't eat too much so I can actually go. I think that's the hardest part. But once you get out of bed, there's a next hardest part. And it's getting in the car and going to the destination that you're going to run. Or if you're leaving from home, just getting out the front door, putting your shoes on, being like, okay, this is about to go down. And then from there, for me, I started on this trail right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the kind of the main entry building right there. I parked up there yesterday, and you run up the trail here on the back end, going all the way around, and all the way around this Enterprise Park is like it was 5.9 miles. And at first I said, let me just do like a 5K. Let me run just to get warm. I hadn't run in a couple days, so I wasn't trying to overexert myself, But shoot. Eventually you get to the point where it's like, instead of it feeling hard and the hard part is all you can think about, it gets to a point where it's still hard, but now you're thinking, well, I've made it this far. How far can I go? And so I looked on the map and checked from this, what do they call this thing? The visitor center? Yeah. All the way down to the first strip here was 2.2 miles. I knew if I went down there and turned around and come back, then I'd get 4 in. So that's a little bit more than 3.2. It'd been solid. It would have been solid. But I get to that mark and I'm like, man, I'm almost halfway around this loop. I saw a trail map that told me it was 5.9. I said, I'm almost to the halfway mark. Let me go to the half. I don't want to turn around and go back just yet. So I went to the half. And mind you, this is going ups and downs and ups and downs. And I wasn't ready for that. In Michigan, shoot, man, it's flat everywhere. So all the running is flat. All the running I did for marathon training was flat. So there was like zero degree of any elevation or incline or whatever. But out here, shoot, man, quads burning. It was tough. Getting out of breath, easy, quick going up these hills. And then it's like they say, what goes up must come down. But in running, if you go down, enjoy it for a second because it must come back up. And I felt that. But it's interesting because in the midst of all of this, you're just kind of thinking, well, I made it this far. Let me just get one more step. I mentioned this in a short, maybe a week or so ago, and it came back to my mind as I'm thinking about this experience again. It's like you can look at the uphill and think, dang it, man, it's going to suck. I don't want to do that. Or you can focus on just one more step. And eventually you get there and you turn around and you look, it's like, oh shoot, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Because you weren't looking or being so concerned about the entirety of it, but just one piece of it at a time, one step. And so, I make it all the way around the loop and I'm not going to lie, I took some breaks to record a couple shorts. I took some other breaks just to walk and catch my breath. I took some other breaks to try to get some video of deer that were out here in the middle of the trails as well. So it was a really cool experience overall. And I make my way all the way around the loop. I get back here to where the cars are parked, just down here at this entry point. And I'm like, 5.9. I'm already over halfway. What am I trying to say? I had already finished the loop. And in my mind, I was like, I want to run. There's like Volkswagen Drive goes all the way down to this street called Bonnie Oaks. And it's about a mile and a half down and a mile and a half back. So I said, well, if I'm at 5.9, who runs 5.9 miles? Let me just go down here and run these extra 2-ish or so miles, 2-3 miles, and I'll call it a day. And so I turn up, I go out to the park, I go hit the street, and I'm running. Thankfully, there was a good sidewalk on either way, so I wasn't like actually in the traffic. But I go down, I turn around, and I come back, and I realize that I'm just over 7.5 miles. And I know it wasn't 2.5 miles to get back up here, but now my mind is thinking 10 miles. Well, I don't just want to run 9. Why would I do that when I could hit 10? 10 is such a better number than 9. So I find myself going and running on all these little side streets and loops and around this hospital outpatient center so that by the time I get back up here, I was at 10 miles. And I actually felt really good when I finished. Walked around for a little bit just to cool down, not tighten up so quick, stretched for a bit, and then I went back home. And I felt pretty good coming out here today to run up and do it again. Got a little 5K and it was a good run. But when I think about the run and I think about my doctoral stuff, all right? Because yes, I'm here, I'm vacationing from work, but it's also a time where I can zero in and focus on these assignments that I really haven't taken the time to do so much because I've had a lot of other things on my plate. And to be honest with you, this research protocols assignment that I've been working on the last week and a half now, never mind the other theology of mission and history of mission papers that I really haven't even started yet outside of just basic research, like it's hard. And I felt like the beginning of it resembled the beginning of the run. What was my idea going to be? Where am I going with this thing? Okay, well, now that I have the idea, I want to focus on student missions. Well, what's next? Like, I don't know what the next step is, even though I'm told I need to do literature review and I can't find literature and all of this kind of stuff. And it gets tough. But today I had a breakthrough. This morning, I was actually in the group chat with the other people in my cohort for the doctoral program. And I just asked the question, like, what is this thing supposed to look like? Are there any examples of it? Just to kind of get an idea of what I was doing. And a couple of them responded, and it turns out the whole thing, I was making it a lot bigger and a lot more difficult than it needed to be, essentially, which I'm very grateful for, especially starting from the jump in this program. But having them give me that piece was like, okay, yeah, I've run this far, and now let's just take one more step. There's a lot of ups and downs. Let me take one more step. Let me just keep on going because I don't know how far I can go, but I know that if I keep taking one step, I can get somewhere positive. And you know, the cool thing about that 10-mile run yesterday was that it was never my intention to run the 10 miles. It kind of just happened because I felt good and wanted to keep pushing and seeing how far I could go. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with where I am with the research paper today. I was able to put some things together. I have now both my theology of mission outline ready to go. I have my research protocols ready to go. And it just happened where it just started to flow. I was really grateful for that. I'm sure running played a part in it as well. But it was really cool to kind of reflect and see, you know, there are a lot of principles from running that apply to the things that we do in life. And the more I run, I think the easier it is to see those things. And, you know, I think there's a lot of different things that you can do. Running is good, obviously, for your health. I would recommend it, even though I've said for years I hate to run. I don't know if I can really say that anymore. I ran a marathon in November, so I don't think I can get away with saying that anymore. But if you look at the things that you do to either de-stress or to kind of clear your mind, I'm sure you could find a lot of similarities in those processes and activities that also translate to the other things you're trying to do in your life as well. And I think that's a really cool concept. And we can learn a lot from those things if we pay a little bit more attention to them. So I got my 3 miles in today, a little bit more. Definitely not as much as yesterday, a little bit more. Tomorrow I'm going to get out here and try to do another 3 miles. Again, just a little bit more and keep it going. And with these papers, yeah, I had the big breakthrough, and I was able to finally get to a point where it's like, wow, I've accomplished more than I thought I did. And now let me just keep taking a little step, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, and I will get done. Eventually, I'll get there. Because if you do run, and even if you don't, I'm sure you can imagine that the best part of it is when you get to the end, you see the finish line, you know you're close to being done. You can slow down, you can take a seat, you can stretch, you can relax. And that's obviously where I am right now in running. And hopefully by the end of next week, shoot, you know what? This is December, what's this? The 29th, the 30th? It's the 28th, a couple days off. I want to see if I can get this done by the new year. Both of these papers. I think it's possible. And I think it's more possible now because of the steps I was able to accomplish today. Just like reaching 10 miles was believable and feasible because I had reached 7.25 miles. But you get what I'm saying, right? Let's see. January 1st, 2024. Let's see if I'm done with these papers. And hold me to it. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully you got a little something from it. Hopefully you're a little inspired. And we out. I'll catch you in the next one, all right? Like, subscribe, and share. You know how we roll. Peace.